But for now, looks like it's just going to be a clean run back apocalypse again. That's what they played when they first ran into each other.
It wouldn't surprise me if we saw this going throughout the entire set. Boomie is definitely a player that likes to stick with one thing all the way to the end. We may see last-minute change, but I think we're going to see a lot of apocalypse unless the other team decides that they really don't want this map anymore. Something about that soft platform, something about maybe the 45-degree angle into the stage, or the shorter but not shortest sidewalls.
Yo, they were going for the team combo there, but maybe we're expecting a little bit DI. There's the side sig, another one. Boomie tries to go for the wake up, the weapon toss. Experience has a lot of movement. He'll get back up safely. Stock counts even, but Snowy's basically untouched.
Yeah, that was a one-for-one trade, but it's definitely not equal when you see how little damage Snowy has taken and how much damage Experience has taken. Of course, we're already seeing Boomie start to bring out those signatures in the beginning of the set. Seemed like he sort of started to move away from them towards the end of their previous set. We'll see if that's kind of the same thing here. Does have the blasters in hand. I maybe start to expect to see some of those down signatures, especially that dash D-sig.
Yeah, that down sig was the thing we highlighted when they first ran into each other earlier on in the upper side of the bracket, but now looks like a little bit more variety coming out. Even Maid throwing out a couple of signatures of his own. Team combo picks up Experience. They're continuing it, but Experience gets out of it.
Watching those fadeaway sayers from Boomie's blasters, like, I felt like I just got in a time machine and was transported back years and years ago to when, like, signatures as a blasters player, you just didn't do that. Yeah. There were not characters that had blasters that had really strong signatures, so you were just a light attack king throwing out those fadeaway sayers. That was how you took out stocks.
And it was so effective. I mean, the amount of space control that you had with those fadeaway sayers was something like Boomie was around when that was the meta, so no surprise to see him utilizing it, but it looks like the stock count has been evened up. The follow-up off the neutral eye. Another one. Experience going to survive. So will Maid.
Doesn't Boomie normally want to play red team?
I think so.
Yeah, doesn't he like normally force that?
But he doesn't get pick priority on this one.
Why wouldn't he?
Because he lost to them.
I'm very curious. Because he is higher seed. So yeah, I'm really curious. I'm going to have to ask him after that. Because, yeah, this is different than what we saw before. Before, Boomie and Snowy were on the red team and Maid and Experience were on blue. That was kind of throwing me off for a second until I remembered that.
Well, looks like the color swap not really affecting the blue team too much right now because Boomie and Snowy are, in fact, up in stock. Snowy still holding it down for the blue team. Has a little bit of health to play with here.
Maid, of course, coming in with these blasters that we were praising him for previously. Love those. Now he's swapping over to the gauntlet. They're going to be looking for the stock off of Boomie, who's very much in the red. The recovery coming out from Snowy, not even the bottom side, makes the connection with Experience. Snowy does have 2 stocks to his name, but if Boomie gets taken out, he's going to be put in the 1v2 situation, which is going to be scary. He does have Maid and Experience in the orange, and that is the result that we're going to have right now in Game 1. Okay, already grabbed 2 hits, didn't get punished, and even safely landed, even forced the team damage.
This is definitely doable for Snowy. He's got the second stock. He's got to avoid losing this one too quickly. If he can get either of the red team members into KO %, very real possibility. Needs a little bit more damage, though, and being unarmed makes that a little bit of a challenge. Does get the downlight recovery, will survive.
Now, you're talking about being unarmed, and if we know Snowy, he will tend to be unarmed for that reason right there, because he is a weapon tosser through and through. So he's going to have to add up more damage, which is going to be slower when you have unarmed. He's going to try and find these KOs, which is going to be slower when you are unarmed. See, he's just mostly throwing his weapons, trying to keep the opponent away. He knows he has plenty of time. He has 4 minutes to make this work. He already got Experience out of the game. Hasn't even lost that second stock yet.
The capitalization, that slight misstep, the Sair from Maid, putting Experience into an awkward spot, and Snowy converted it to a KO, and another one. Snowy gonna win out in the 1v2.
Oh my goodness. Picked up 3 KOs, split that one right down the middle with Boomie, but did 694 damage. And that's not just because he was the only one left in the game, so he was the only one who could put out damage on the opponent while they throw themselves at him person after person. No, that was Snowy doing that the entire game. That was Snowy going big the entire game.
Yeah, Snowy playing incredibly well, clutching it out in that 1v2 against Maid and Experience. Maid and Experience never got an opportunity to get a team combo started. They never were able to open up that sandwich, get around Snowy, and start putting the bread on.
Now, we know from the end of last game that Maid was the last player to be knocked out on the red team, and yet even with that little bit of extra time, Maid only put out 240 damage. If you look at Experience's damage, it's not the greatest, but 491, not terrible whatsoever. If Maid was able to match that 491, we would have probably seen a victory for that team. We would have seen Snowy go into that 1v2, probably not on his second stock. He probably would have been on his final, and he probably would have been about halfway through, if not at the beginning stages of red. So Maid is going to have to step that up, but we see the possible win condition of bully Maid out of the game. We have seen teams, specifically Boomie and Snowy, do that and win games.
But they do still have to respect Experience, and we're going to see a different map in this one. It's not going to be Apocalypse. It got banned out. We're going to Demon Island for game number 2.
We'll see how this one shakes up. Demon Island is something we really haven't seen too much today.
Not enough Lance players in NA.
I guess.
Because that's usually what you'll see, right? Is like the Orions love it, the Scarlets love it, the Rolands love it, the Olgrims love it. But when you've got this kind of gauntlet meta coming out from NA, they don't feel the need for all this space.
I feel like you saying not enough Lance players is probably a sentence that has never been uttered by any Brawlhalla player ever. Even if there were 0 Lance players, nobody would still say not enough Lance players.
Well, there's at least one person who wants more Lance, and right now Boomie wants more jumps, but he's not going to get any. He's going to be the first to fall 30 seconds into this one.
Snowy pushing, though. You see him immediately go after Maid. You see Experience coming right behind him, juggling a little bit with those axe neutral airs. Now Snowy still has his sights set on Maid. Almost got the spike with that down signature. They get the KO off the top, off of Boomie's recovery. Now's the time to bully Experience while they have the man advantage as Maid comes back in.
They try to do so, got some good damage built up. Boomie does have to be careful, respect the fact that he was the first one onto his second stock. Good dodge back to avoid the follow-up from Experience.
A little bit of team damage there. I can't remember who hit whom, but it was on team damage on the blue team. Now Boomie's really starting to get close into that KO damage. Snowy's still in a pretty good spot, but Experience in a much better spot. Definitely favoring the red team right here. Nice side air from Boomie. He's going to turn back, turn his attention to Maid, maybe force him onto his final stock, but it's going to take quite a bit of damage. That neutral stick coming out. He charged that one a little bit as well, trying to give it a little bit of extra oomph on it. I don't think it would have knocked out, even though it is cross insig. Gets the dodge over to the wall and backs off the wall, just barely getting away from Experience.
Yeah, really good movement from Boomie, dancing around Experience, gets that side stick to follow up. Meanwhile, Snowy did have the down sig, but Maid with a fantastic interrupt with his own Blaster's Dare, made sure that it didn't KO Experience too early. Right now, though, the storyline is like a race between the crosses. Who's going to get KO'd first?
All of a sudden, we have a much closer game than we did previously. Boomie kept taking some damage, but he didn't get hit by any big impact moves, any strong variable force moves, any KO moves. Almost had the follow-up, but Maid had a little bit too much damage on him for Snowy to find the immediate recovery off of Boomie, but they do eventually find it 4 stocks to 3. Snowy in a pretty good spot, Experience in a good spot. Boomie might be taken out soon. I mean, he's been doing a great job living, but you see him over on the right side, just sticking on that wall. Red team goes for the 2v1.
Yeah, they try to take advantage of the fact that Boomie's playing a little bit further back. Red team's got their own style of doing that. We saw Maid sitting on the wall in a previous match. Neutralite comes in, getting more damage added up onto Maid. Blue team wants to take him out of this one.
Man, Snowy has a sight set. You see him moving like towards Boomie to provide some relief in case Experience really goes crazy, but then you always see him like look in the other direction, the eyes dart to the right just to see what Maid is doing, whether or not he needs to go over, put some punishment out on Maid, who is in red on final stocks, could be taken out of the game soon. You see Experience hunting for the KO on Boomie to put the blue team on their final stocks.
Well, the down sig hits the teammate.
Oh,
they're chasing for Maid.
Oh, that's going to be a punish from Experience. Nice punish again, turning around that Neutralite after the dare that ended up hitting Boomie. Putting Experience on final stock is Snowy, who's still in the orange. Boomie hitting a nice neutral air, does get taken out, but has that extra stock to play with. It's Snowy's job to stay alive here, stay on the board. The recovery just barely knocking out Maid is gone. It's Boomie v Experience.
The 1v1, Boomie with a little bit more health to play with. He's got the stage control, goes for the ground pound, but we've seen Experience win out in these edge guards. If Boomie gets too close, could be trouble. Experience gets the nair.
Going into this, we have essentially all but an even 1v1. They were both very low damage on their stocks. I think Boomie was a little bit more damage than Experience, but man, we have like one of the rare true even 1v1s at the end of a 2v2 game.
Yo, they're both disarmed though. Experience trying to utilize those weapon tosses, maybe trying to take some weapons away, but Boomie's got blasters. Experience back onto the gauntlets.
Ooh. You see him throwing out those 3 blasts, going to lock you in place. That means Experience had plenty of time to punish that one. Picks up a 2-piece, hits the side air, starting to run out of jump, still has the recovery, and is going to eat a recovery from Experience.
Needed to get that wall touch to reset the jumps. Experience, though, showing the threat. The side airs come out. Experience has plenty of movement. Boomie avoids any attack from Experience just now. Goes over to the gauntlets. The dodge.
Oh!
And that'll do it. Experience with the side light recovery puts them on the board.
Oh my. We saw the damage numbers right before it went to the replay. Oh my goodness. Experience with 841 damage that game. He did more damage on Axe alone than Maid did with both weapons combined.
Yeah, all of the stats from any individual weapon from any other player still beats out what Maid was able to do with any of his weapons. That was a rough game for Maid, but you know what? That's really nice for the team that Experience was able to be like, all right, well, they're focusing you down. I'm going to just do 841 damage and clutch out in the 1v1 against Boomie. Really well done from Experience to be able to kind of shoulder that burden.
So the blue team can take a couple different routes here. They can continue to do the same thing where they really push on Maid, hoping that they can't count on Experience to do 841 damage. We know the potential is there, but if I'm a betting man, I would not be putting my money on Experience to do 841 damage. There's like one player in the world I would expect to do that, and it's Cody Travis, because we've seen him do it several times. So they could do that, or they could back off from that huge focus on taking Maid out of the game.
Ooh. Big side air. Looks like the red team, though, has already shifted their positioning. Maid going to go over to the Chun-Li, that Wushang crossover. Wants a little bit more survivability as he gets that side sig, and Snowy's in trouble here on the left side. Might fall. Yep, the ground pound gives the red team a massive lead.
This is a gigantic opening for Maid. They just got the interruption on the recovery. Hit the nair. Boomie's done. What is happening this game? There's a little bit of a change from the Chun-Li coming out, but the map is the same. The blue team's the same. All the players are the same. What's going on?
The red team is something different.
Bro.
Boomie, he's going to get back safely, but Snowy's going to fall. Boomie, can he get to the wall touch? Yes, he can. Experience wants the stock, though. Snowy's going to finish it off. It's just been mitigated from 6-2 to 4-2. It's still looking dire.
What a huge swing for the red team that just kept going. I don't think we're going back to Demon Island after this. Those tiny sidewalls spelled absolute disaster for this blue team. Sometimes they elected to be over there, other times they were forced to be over there. Regardless, they were stuck over there, and then they were in the blast zone.
Well, election or not, they're definitely not going to be voting for this map again. 4 stocks left versus Snowy. This is done. Experience and Maid going to close out game number 3.
I got to see me some stats on that one. The funny thing is like, if you just looked at the raw damage numbers, you'd be like, Experience did 498 damage. Okay, nothing to like super write home about, but he did that, and Maid did 338 damage. That's just how efficient they were. Everything that happened on the right side.
Both Boomie and Snowy, less than 200 damage each. They were struggling in that one. And of course, like you said, Demon Island got banned out. We're going over to the Fortress of Lions for game number 4. Boomie and Snowy need to win this in order to take this to game number 5 and hopefully get that run back.
Now we're going over to this stage.
Oh, Boomie.
He did get his recovery interrupted, but we're going over to this stage, and like, it's not that different of the actual like construction of the stage itself. The sidewalls are still small. That still could be an issue, and it might be right here if Experience is able to take out. Down sig coming out from Snowy at Experience, but he does not fall for it, gets through, and gets the punish.
Yeah, you can tell Boomie is definitely not going around Experience, hits the dare, turns around for Maid. He does not want to play that edge guard anymore. Signature KO, not going to do it for Experience. Experience can get back up safely, but they go for the 2v1 on the Maid.
That's Rayman defense coming in the clutch here for Experience. I bet the blue team, now seeing that, probably wish that Boomie was the finisher on that, just because those signatures are going to have more variable force on them. Likely would have been the KO if we saw a side signature from Boomie, but that's a really tough thing to estimate in the moment when you have that easy setup, and that setup that they've been doing consistently with that side signature from the gauntlets on Dawson.
Yeah, I mean, they went for what's been working for them. Unfortunately, didn't have enough force, but still, they were able to clean up that stock on Experience. They've got this small stock advantage on Boomie, but Boomie's lost stocks very quickly against Maid and Experience.
Yeah, we do have to worry about
Recovery.
this. Oh, Maid taken out. It's going to be a trade 1-for-1, but definitely in favor of the blue team. That means the red is not going to have any chance to add up this damage onto Snowy to get him into the red with a man advantage. So trade definitely benefiting the blue team. It is 4 stocks to 3. Experience with the axe. We saw a lot of gauntlets start out. In fact, I mean, we still have 3 gauntlet players on the screen, but it was 4 gauntlets in the beginning. Now we've seen a lot of axe from Experience. He just spent some time on this weapon, and I feel like the explosive potential isn't quite there, but he's still, of course, putting out lots of damage.
And this set is like a wildfire. They're just trading off the heat. You've got Experience and Maid who are just on fire in the last one. This time, Boomie and Snowy are on fire, but can they close this out? Maid in the red, Experience in the red as well. Maid with a spot dodge to avoid the punish.
Man, the blue team was just like in perfect position to push the man advantage once they sent Experience flying to the left. They were both right there. They weren't able to turn it into too much immediately, but they do find the stock on Experience. Now they have the man advantage. Sidelight into the recovery. Boomie was there just in case. Even though it missed, they didn't need it. It's now the 1v2 starring Experience.
Yep, and Snowy, unfortunately for Experience, has plenty of health. The team combo not going to be the setup that they wanted, though. Experience going to get away from that one. Took only a little bit of damage.
He's throwing out like several axe recoveries in a row. Like he wants that 360-degree hitbox, but he knows he has to be careful because that takes away one of your main in-air movement options that you can use to get safely back. So if he keeps doing that a lot, he could get punished, he could get caught out and then taken out early because he doesn't have those recoveries to use anymore once he gets sent flying.
Looks like the message has gotten across the blue team. Oh! He gets them both! The double KO for Experience. It's just a 1v1, and even though he's in the red, he's got the weapon, he's got the stage. Can he get the edge guard?
This 1v1 is going to be a little bit different than the last one. They are not coming into this one on even footing. Boomie in the yellow, Experience very much in the red. It's the gauntlets from Boomie versus the axe of Experience. D-Sig, Experience gets around it. Another D-Sig, not even close enough to punish that. That's one of the beauties of that down signature is if your opponent is in the spot that Experience is, you can just throw that out. There's like basically no shot that they can get there in time to defend against that to punish you on it. But now it's gauntlet v gauntlet.
Yo, but Boomie is not finding hits, but he finds the one he needs. He's going to take this to game number 5.
Man, Maid's numbers are just low. They're really relying so much on Experience going absolutely crazy.
I mean, the thing that's working well for Maid is, like, his numbers are low, but he's not getting knocked out that drastically fast that he's not, like, at least taking a couple of the blue stocks with him. Like, he lost his last stock, but Boomie and Snowy were also creeping into those final stocks as well.
That game specifically was probably one of the ones where Maid got knocked out earlier than normal, but definitely I agree with you for some of the games before that one. You can see it on the graph right there. It was a little bit over halfway into the game, so probably about 60% through the game, and Maid was already taken out of this one. But looking at Experience's graphs, he has like a nice concave up.
Okay.
Exponential for the first one,
yeah.
Then his second stock is linear, and then his third stock, I believe, was concave down. A little bit of math there. For the viewers at home, I know they love that.
Were very nice, but what wasn't nice for the blue team was that same move DI. They got the 2 end lights, so the red team was able to DI up, so they couldn't continue that combo despite the fact that the blue team had locked up both red team members.
Oh, there's the D-Light. Maid actually pulls out of that because he knew he had Experience in it. And if you look at the damage, Experience has a lot of damage on him compared to Boomie. So if he went for the recovery off of that, he was going to send Experience flying, possibly to KO. I don't think at that point, but he can't risk any more damage onto Experience.
Yeah, didn't want to risk it, but that will connect onto the teammate. The weapon toss Maid will still get back to the stage safely. Blue team opting to play it smart, play it safe. Stay on stage, don't risk the edge guard.
Maid's still not afraid to throw out those side signatures, though. Even the neutral signature there, just barely missing Boomie. Had luck with that previously when we were talking about Demon Island, but hasn't found the right signature placement just yet here on Fortress of Lions.
Yo, the falling side air from Maid off that weapon toss. Stock advantage is tied, but Boomie with the recovery. Experience on the edge guard. Snowy wants to play this out unarmed against Experience's axe, but doesn't get the KO.
We didn't see a lot of confidence in that edge guard from Experience's axe either. He was just kind of chilling around, looking almost like he wanted to completely disengage. He actually axe recovered back over on top of the main platform. Boomie still going in on this one, has the gauntlets. Oh,
that's
ends up taking out his teammate on that one, but it's not the worst trade in the world. Experience is going to find the KO onto Boomie in the process, so maybe that trade was not so good because that left Boomie by himself. He ended up taking damage. Snowy had the stock to play with, but Boomie doesn't.
Now, this could go either direction. This is a fragile situation right now as both red team members are in that KO percent. That downlight from Snowy almost puts Maid off screen, but Boomie's the target, and Boomie's running out of jumps. He gets up safely. Snowy, though, won't, and now Boomie left in the edge guard. Narrowly touches the wall, but the stock advantage is huge in favor of the red team.
Boomie's taking so much damage. I don't know how they're going to be able to come back from this one. Boomie is so close to being knocked out of this game. And keep in mind, we talked about second chances with Luna, Pugsy, Walshy, and Cutie earlier. We're in the elimination bracket. There are no second chances here, especially when we're in Game 5.
The double tap potential here. Maid and Experience already won one set over Boomie and Snowy. Boomie gets back onto the stage. He knows he needs to survive, but he can't do too much. Goes for the ground pound. Gets back up. Doesn't get the punish, though.
Man, Snowy's trying to go crazy. Boomie's trying to play as safe as he can. Snowy's trying to go crazy. They have their responsibilities delegated between the two of them, and they're doing the best with what they have. The damage is coming out, but still, man, Boomie needs to take like one errant hit. And he's taken out of this game. And there it is. Snowy in the 1v2. That sends off screen, but not to the blast zone.
The recovery not enough. Snowy trying to play the 1v2. He needs it, but that's the combo, and that's the KO. Experience and Maid close it out 3-2.
Guaranteeing themselves the top 3 in the Game 5. If we're looking at the numbers for Snowy and Boomie, they're almost looking like the numbers for Maid and Experience previously. Snowy coming out with big 612 damage, but Boomie over there at 357. When we get to see the graphs at the end, I want everybody to look at the second stocks of Snowy and Boomie because those are the main outliers. You can see them on the screen. The bottom 2 graphs right there. The top one is Snowy, the bottom one is Boomie. Snowy second stock, almost non-existent.
That was such a little amount of damage. You can basically count the number of hits he took before he fell. Meanwhile, Boomie took a bunch in a very short amount of time. That's why it's a very